The gravel crunched under my tires as I veered off the road, my headlights catching a silver SUV parked in my driveway. I wasn't due back at my Stillwater Pines cabin until Sunday, but a canceled conference and a bad feeling had me driving 3 hours early. I'm Ethan Caldwell, a high school history teacher in the city, and this lakefront cabin me family since the 80s was my escape. No Wi-Fi, no neighbors too close, just pine-scented peace. So when I saw that SUV with a Lakeside Retreat Rentals sticker on the back, my gut twisted. My cabin wasn't for rent. Never had been. I cut the engine and stepped out, moving quietly. The air was thick with damp earth and something off. I unlocked the front door, pushed it open, and stopped dead. My kitchen counter was littered with glossy brochures. My handcrafted, wood-paneled cabin splashed across the front with Rustic Lake Getaway available now, in looping cursive. My pulse spiked. Then I heard her voice outside, grating like nails on chalkboard. No pets, sorry, but the lake view's to die for, and we've got a brand new hot water heater me brother-in-law's handiwork. I stepped onto the porch, and there she was, Margaret Voss, HOA vice president, mid-50s, sporting a stiff blonde bob and a sun visor that screamed control freak. She held a clipboard in one hand, phone in the other, mid-sales pitch. She spun at my footsteps, her sunglasses nearly flying off. "Ethan, you're not supposed to be here till Sunday." Her face paled, her voice all fake shock. "Surprise," I said, arms crossed. "Want to tell me why you're hawking my house to strangers?" Margaret clutched her clipboard like a lifeline. "You weren't using it. We had families looking for weekend spots, and I figured we figured it was a shame to let it sit empty." Her words faltered. "The HOA board discussed it kind of." I took a step closer, my voice low. "You broke into my cabin." She snapped. "I didn't break in. Your side window was unlocked." My jaw tightened. "That's called trespassing, Margaret." She scoffed, folding her arms. "You're overreacting. You haven't been here in months. It's not like anyone was living here. So that makes it okay to steal my property?" I shot back. Her mouth opened, then clamped shut, her brain scrambling for an excuse. Then, unbelievably, she yanked out her phone and started dialing. "You're calling the cops?" I asked, floored. She tilted her chin up. "You're acting unhinged, Ethan. I don't feel safe." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "You're trespassing, renting out my home, and you're calling the cops?" I pulled out my phone, already recording. "Let's see how this plays out, Margaret." Her eyes flicked to my phone, then to the driveway as sirens wailed closer. 2 deputies stepped out, hands on their belts. Margaret rushed to them, playing the damsel. "He's threatening me," she wailed. "He's not supposed to be here." Deputy Carter approached me, calm but direct. "You the owner?" he asked. "Ethan Caldwell," I said, handing over my ID. "I've got the deed, security footage, whatever you need." He nodded. "Mind if I look inside?" I stepped aside. "Be my guest. Check the kitchen. There's enough brochures to start a travel agency." Carter came back holding a pamphlet, his brow creased. "Ma'am," he said to Margaret, "care to explain why your contact info's all over these?" She stammered. "It was just one weekend, no big deal." Carter's tone stayed flat. "Breaking and entering, unauthorized rental, impersonating ownership, that's a big deal." Margaret's face darkened as he radioed for a supervisor. She sank onto the stone ledge by the fire pit, gripping her clipboard like it could save her. Inside, I found more. Rental agreements with forged signatures, booking schedules, even a list of fake amenities like a hot tub I didn't own. I laid it all out for Carter, who snapped photos, his expression hardening. "We've had reports of rogue rentals around Stillwater Pines," he said. "This might be the break we needed." A third cruiser rolled up, and a woman in plain clothes stepped out, Detective Claire Ramsey, badge on her belt. "We've been eyeing the HOA for a while," she said. "Kickbacks, forged permits, unauthorized property use. You just handed us a jackpot." Margaret's voice rose outside, frantic. "It's a misunderstanding. I was helping the community, bringing in money for repairs." Ramsey didn't look her way. "She's been using HOA funds to market these rentals," she said, flipping through a folder. "That's fraud and misappropriation." I showed her receipts I'd found behind my grandfather's tackle box, including one for a cleaning fee when Margaret had stayed here herself. Ramsey whistled. "She's got nerve. Advertising, cleaning, profiting all on your dime." Margaret was cuffed and hauled off, her protests fading. But the rot ran deeper. That night, I called neighbors, quiet folks, mostly retirees who dodged HOA drama. Their stories spilled out. Fake fees, intimidation, threats of liens. Mr. Hensley, a widower, said Margaret claimed shoreline erosion studies justified fee hikes. Mrs. Gorman was fined $75 for a non-compliant mailbox. Another got hit for leaving a porch light on. It wasn't just my cabin. Margaret and her allies had turned Stillwater Pines into their personal ATM. 3 days later, we crowded into Hensley's garage, poring over a musty binder of HOA bylaws. Daniel, a new resident and municipal code analyst, dropped a bombshell. The HOA had forged ballots to amend the covenants, allowing temporary community use of uninhabited properties. That was Margaret's loophole for her rental scheme. He showed us checks to Whisper Pines LLC, a shell company tied to Margaret's ex-husband, Leonard, who'd billed the HOA $10,000 for a fake security gate made of cheap farm parts. Mrs. Gorman held up a forged signature her late husband's, dated years after his death. We took it to the county. Deputy DA Rachel Morrow met us, her eyes widening at Daniel's packet of forged ballots and financial records. "This is systemic," she said. "Fraud, forgery, misuse of funds, possibly embezzlement." She launched an investigation. Days later, Thomas, a retired surveyor, showed me maps proving Margaret had forged a deed to seize the McGregor family's land, claiming it as HOA property for a fake community recreation zone. She'd even negotiated a $300,000 lease with a developer for a glamping resort and land she didn't own. The FBI stepped in when they traced wire transfers from Whisper Pines to an offshore account. The community rallied, forming a cooperative to replace the HOA. At a packed firehouse meeting, residents stepped up, a contractor for maintenance, an accountant for dues. The old HOA was dissolved, its fake rules scrapped. Margaret, Leonard, and board president Victor Klein faced trial. Margaret got 23 years for forgery, fraud, and illegal financial structuring. Leonard got 12. Victor, who cooperated, got house arrest. Seized properties were returned, restitution paid out. Stillwater Pines became a cautionary tale of HOA abuse. I went back to teaching, visiting the cabin on weekends. The lake was calm again, the neighbors warmer. Margaret's old house was auctioned off, bought by a young family who planted flowers and hung wind chimes. Their kid waved at me from the dock one evening, and I waved back. Justice didn't fix it all, but it gave us our homes and our fight. All because I came home early.